This is Things You Might Have Heard. I am Jay Cleveland Payne, and have I got some news for you today. We're talking Sean Diddy Combs. Oh, boy, are we talking Diddy. Plus some Instagram and Boeing and more. 8 news stories from yesterday that we're queued up, ready to go for you, that you deem as conversational, so you have some say in the news stories we report every single day here on Things You Might Have Heard. For more information about how that works out, you can go to our website. This is theconversationproject.com and see all the things we do and the whys and the hows and the wheres, if you will. Plus, email us at theconversationinbox@gmail.com. Today is Wednesday, September the 18th, 2024, and we have, as we said, 8 news stories in the queue ready to get to you. No particular order as they're being presented, but these are stories that were vetted by you as good to talk about. We'll talk about that in just a moment, but let's kick things off with a story that's a bit disturbing for many reasons, but it also brings up the mantra that you must be careful of who your heroes are when meeting your heroes, because sometimes the people that we put on pedestals as good role models fail us miserably. Headline number 1, and this is a doozy. Story number 1 is Sean Diddy Combs indicted in sex trafficking, racketeering, and prostitution-related charges. The link we have is from People Magazine, but there are many, many out there that go deeper in detail what's going on. And as the day went through, and as there's more time for people to do commentary on the indictment, on the charges, on everything that was happening, it just got worse. As we said, sex trafficking, racketeering, conspiracy, transfer trading individuals for prostitution. Allegations go all the way back to 2008. 2008. Excuse me. Combs is allegedly alleged to have manipulated women for orchestrated sexual performances with high-profile clients. He pleaded not guilty and is currently being held without bail because he believed he has flight risk. In fact, the reason why the charges were sealed were they thought he would basically fly off someplace. He was off out of the country when the first big raid on his house happened. And, of course, the big deal is all the sort of weird story pieces about this. Guns, drugs, thousands of bottles of baby oil seized at his house a few months back, and just all the rumors and innuendo, including all of the ex-girlfriends and ex-workers for him coming out with these charges of abuse, and to have stories of him basically having day-long sex parties that just went on and on and on. Sean Combs is held as a pillar in the communities, and waving faces from my face going black. For a lot of folks in my generation, and a lot of younger folks a bit younger than me, seeing him as a guy who made it, a guy who did it well, made it big, was able to turn a internship into a music mogul business and just beyond. So there's that. It also shows that sometimes these people, and I say these people, not seeing it lightly, once they get that level of fame, become different people, or become the people they really are supposed to be, and that is a really scary thing. What you don't know about people, unfortunately, is the scary thing about what you don't know about people. Story number 2. What you don't know about technology is unfortunately what you don't know about technology. And Hezbollah had 8 people killed and many more injured in Lebanon. More than 2,700 people actually injured in Lebanon because of exploding pagers. A wave of pagers, yes, sky pagers, exploded in Lebanon and Syria, killed at least 9 people or so, injuring over 2,750 people, says the updated part of the article. Hezbollah has blamed the orchestrated attack on Israel, of course, saying the pagers were remotely detonated. Explosions were triggered widespread chaos, and Hezbollah has vowed to retaliate. So this is an incident that talks about technology and tensions in the regions, both things together. Now, Hezbollah had decided to get out of his own way with communications. They are off of the digital. They are analog pagers. Literally, you get a page and you call someone back on some sort of landline phone or some message there. They're not doing text. They're not doing cell phones. They're not doing WhatsApp, things like that. Pretty much analog going forward. One company basically sold Hezbollah a whole bunch of pagers, and somehow, some way, Israel got involved and added, some sort of device into them, plus a little bit extra charge, so that they blew up a whole bunch of pagers at once remotely. We will see how this plays out. I don't think there've been any actual Israeli sort of taking credit for this. No one's actually done this, but Hezbollah is basically in a battle with Israel all the time as a proxy for Iran as a terrorist group that does what it wants to do. And essentially, Israel's a pretty good target to blame because they probably did do it. So will there be retaliations, or this is something that Israel's going to get away with, air quotes, as just a new way of attack? And who actually carries pagers anymore? Other than terrorists trying to get out of their own way of not being tracked, who actually carries that many pagers? We've gone way beyond pagers for kids, obviously. So now let's talk about Instagram. They're going to automatically put teens into private accounts with increased restrictions and parental controls. This is happening. This is one way they're going to try to combat the, let's just say, filth, because a lot of it is, and keep teens safe on their accounts. Teens who are under 18 are going to go into what's called private teen accounts. It's going to happen automatically. It's going to enhance some of the security and privacy and safety for these accounts. Built-in protections that limit interactions and content visibilities, and parental controls can actually take it off. So if you are a parent and you trust your teen, or your teen for some reason convinced you that they need these things, you can turn off these things based on parental controls, but they'll be locked down automatically. If your teen put in their actual age into their Instagram account, they're going to get it locked down very soon. New and existing teen users will be transitioned to this feature over time, and hopefully a safer environment will be provided going forward. Number 4 story for this morning. The Key Bridge victims' families are going to take legal action to hold the ship owner accountable that caused the bridge collapse way back when. Families of the victims of the Key Bridge collapse are taking legal action. This is against Grace Ocean Private Limited, the ship owner that hit the bridge and knocked it into the water. They aim to prevent the company from limiting its liability for a fatal collapse, and are filing the lawsuit to hold the company accountable. The collapse resulted in multiple casualties, and the families argue that there's no legal loophole they should get out to evade their responsibility. Of course, 8 people went into the water after the ship lost power and drifted into the side of the bridge and collapsed a big chunk of it into the water. And only 2 of them were able to survive the actual fall. So 6 members, family members from 6 people, want to make sure that the company, of course, Grace Ocean Private Limited, does not get out of any liability from what happened. I'm not sure how much they're getting out of at the moment, but we're going to see how this one plays out to make sure they are held accountable in the forward actions for courts. We'd like you to like this video. We want you to share this video. Want you to subscribe to these videos going forward, or audios if you're listening to this in the podcast that is coming from this on the back end. We need you to like, share, and subscribe because we need your help to grow our audiences. Whether you're on YouTube, whether you're watching this on Facebook, whether you're listening to it in the audio version on your podcast app, we need your help. The Conversation Project is about conversations, literally about getting people together to talk things up. The more people in conversations, normally the better they're going out there. Now that we reach some milestones and we're seeing more push by some algorithms on YouTube specifically, we're monetized, so they have a sort of effort to put us out there to maybe make some money off of us. We're seeing some more of the, let's just say, garbage, comments that are out there, which we're fine with, because if someone's not saying bad things about you, you're not living life right, and you're not pushing enough buttons, not doing things properly. So we're okay with that. And I've been putting myself out here for literally decades in various mediums for people to call me an idiot. So I'm okay with that. It still hurts. Okay with that. But in order to get more, greater, better responders, people who may say things that are kind of nice and things that are actually engaging in conversation as opposed to just, Trump good, Trump bad, Kamala good, Kamala bad, we need you to help. Like this presentation, like some presentation we have out there, whether it's here, whether it's our TikTok things, whether they have going on there, share them with other folks so more people can engage in these things that of a top of mind, or maybe not a top of mind. Sometimes it's just about getting numbers. And subscribe. Make sure you're not losing out on getting our content if you like it, because it just sort of pops up here and there. Subscribe so that it gets into your feeds. You may not have to. I'm not even asking you to hit the bell for notifications. Just subscribe and check us out every so often. We appreciate that. I appreciate this, as I am right now working on cup number 2. Of course, I drink like 4 or 5 throughout the day, but 2 to 3 cups of coffee a day is linked to a lower risk of heart and metabolic disease. Studies have found that this drinking 2 or 3 cups a day, not more, and at least 2, can significantly reduce your risk of heart disease, stroke, and type 2 diabetes. Those are the metabolic things inside of you. Moderate coffee consumption, which is defined as 200 to 300 milligrams of coffee, that's in a day, associated with lower likelihood of developing those cardiometabolic conditions. People who consume around 3 cups a day showed about a 48% reduction in heart or metabolic diseases compared to non-coffee drinkers. Now, this is a survey. This is a study. This is not. It is science, but it's not. It's not as much poking and prodding as you think. He drinks more coffee for effect inside the article, but this is more good news for coffee drinkers. Coffee drinkers, whatever is in the coffee, whatever those goats that chewed on those beans that got us this great invention, hundreds of years ago, has found that it's also very good for you. In moderation, of course. Everything overindulgence is bad for you. There's caffeine, it may keep you up at night. There are also things, it's a diuretic, so it makes you pee a lot. That is true. But also has things that helps your conditions internally. It's a good way to flush things out. Pun intended. Let's stick with science. This time we're going to pregnancy brain. And science now can show you how pregnancy changes the brain in immutable ways. The new research shows that pregnancy causes widespread changes in your brain. Over 80% of the regions studied, that's the brain, experience reductions in gray matter, which affects thinking and processing. Brain alterations are believed to help mothers adapt to demands of caring for newborns, influencing memory, emotion, and social cognition, basically imprinting on their brain things they need to do to connect with their baby so they will take care of their baby. Findings highlight the profound neurological impact a pregnancy can have on a mother's brain. Essentially, it becomes a truth that mommy brain and pregnancy brain are real things, and some people literally can't have the mental capacity or just the connection with their baby. Some people just don't really connect with their baby, and it's not a mental illness thing, but it is a brain thing that happens in the development. So says a study. Check out the link for this one because this is an interesting one. Even if you are like me and can't actually conceive a child, it's interesting to see how brain study works and to kind of understand the fairer sex and what they go through in their lives. What are we going through with jobs? Not so great things in some cases. And Boeing seeing a really, really big issue with that right now, as the Boeing's looking at hiring freezing right now because the furloughs and the strikes that are happening are not great for Boeing. 4th day in. Furloughs are something they're doing because people can't work. If strikers are not working building things, other people can't do other things. And with that, they're looking at hiring freezes to basically stop the work going forward. About 30,000 workers still on strike 4 days in. Not a very big strike and not getting a lot of love out there. I think most of the real attention in the news is, former presidents getting shot, and they're complaining about that, and also complaining about, chupacabras or something in Springfield, Ohio. No, not chupacabras. It's actually cats. But because we have that sort of news and other actual things to report, this strike, which started 4 days ago, is not getting the attention. I don't want to say love because strikes aren't loved, but the attention that many people will be getting. But guess what? The people who aren't working, their attention is definitely peaked, and they are seeing the company having some issues. How long will it take for Boeing to come back to the table or actually work on a deal that the workers want? Workers got about a 25% pay raise over time, or an offer of that. They wanted 40%. Those numbers, even with my math, aren't all that close. And finally, our number 8 story for this morning. New York woman is challenging new Miss America and Miss World the rules that ban mothers from being in beauty pageants. And the working around this is that there's beauty pageants for mothers. You can be the Mrs. USA. That's not what this woman wants. This is Danielle Hazel. A New York woman is challenging the longstanding rules that bans mothers from participating in Miss America and Miss World beauty pageants specifically. She said on Monday with her lawyer that she's always dreamed of entering competitions, but was devastated to learn that she's not eligible because she had a son when she was 19 years old. And it wasn't, the story, it's not some sort of, just torrid, just sad story. She had a kid when she was 19, and she can't be in beauty pageants, and she believes she could win, and she's disqualified because of the child. Rules disqualify women who have children or legal dependents from competing. because of wholesomeness and things like that, I guess. The woman argues that the policies are outdated and discriminatory, and she's seeking changes to allow mothers the opportunity to participate in these prestigious contests. It may not be a boon for her. She may not get her chance to get into the pageant because maybe, time has passed. Maybe now she feels she's too old. But when she was in the window, when she was ready to do this, she was banned because she had a child that was depending on her. And pageants don't look too kindly to those. Let's move on to our teaser story right now. Teaser story. This is a news article that is going to be in our feeds today as we produce this on Wednesday, the 18th. And as it comes up or other stories come through, we need you to engage in the stories to let us know what stories happened. The reason why we had 8 stories that we previously did was we produced over 30 stories in our feeds throughout the day. We chose the top 15 of those from your engagement and pulled 8 of those into the story. So not so much, we took the best of the best, if you will, and hopefully you agree. If you don't, email us and let us know what story you saw that we didn't get into. Now, the story for today has this headline. Starbucks North America CEO Michael Conway quits after just 6 months in position. We want to go deeper into this story, but the big story on this one, Starbucks has a new CEO or had a new CEO. They didn't make him move to Seattle. They didn't make him do a bunch of stuff. And he also just started sort of throwing things out there, just like spaghetti in the wall to see what happens. 6 months in, he's done. While we talk about this story, is this a big one for you to chat up? You will tell us by just engaging the story to make it engaging. Go to our feeds on Facebook, on X, on Threads. Threads.net/@this is a conversation, x.com/th_conversation, and facebook.com/this is a conversation project. And what you see is every 50 minutes or so, we will post news articles of varying degrees of seriousness and silliness and from various different sources all day long. When you check your feeds for other things, see what we're up to, and engage in the story. Read it so you know what we're actually talking about. This is a way to get more conversational news topics out there. So it's not just, yes, Hezbollah had their people blown up with pagers, and yes, Diddy did some really nasty things over the years, but you also get some other supplemental news sources that aren't getting caught when those other big stories are taking over. You also engage in it by clicking the liking my smiley face that you want to say that you like it. Share it with other people so more people get engaged in it. Engage in it literally by giving comments and talking with the folks, us ruffians who are in there on the internet to chat things up. And the more engagement you give to a story, the better chance we talk about it in the next iteration. For this one, it'd be the Thursday edition of things you might not have heard. Yesterday, we teased Sean Combs being arrested. Of course, the indictment came out, so we went with the updated story. Do you want to talk about Michael Conway no longer being the Starbucks CEO? Because you have to read the article. It's up to you guys. It's all up to you. It's also up to you to make sure you're taking care of people. And sometimes it's just a small, simple gift. And sometimes it's just a whim, just spur of the moment thing to get to someone. Every so often I do this. I'm just, in the store and it's like, I'm buying flowers for the ladies in my life. And the ladies in my life are the 3 women I live with. That's being my wife, my daughter, and my mother-in-law. And so because of that, I never win any fights, which is a whole nother story. But that's not why I'm getting flowers because, well, it is. I'm trying to basically stave off fights ahead of time. But just every so often, it's like, I'm buying flowers. I'm going to grab them, go from there. I'm lucky because I can stop by a florist in the way home and do stuff like that. But let's say I have someone, and I've done this many times, I've forgotten people's birthdays because Facebook doesn't pop it up till the day of, and I have some very good friends that I want to send them gifts to, and it's 6 in the morning as I'm producing this show, and I need to get out to them that day, and they live in other cities. Flowers Fast gets me out of jams for those things. Flowers Fast can do the same thing for you, so keep this in your back pocket. It's our affiliate link at thisisaconversationproject.com/flowersfast. And so when you use that affiliate link, we get a small commission for the flowers, the candy, the gifts, the bears, whatever you buy from Flowers Fast. We get a small commission from that. And they do it fast, do it quickly. This is not something where you have to do it ahead of time, make sure that's ordered so everything is good. It's not you getting something and they throw it in a FedEx box to get there, next day or 2 days out. This is a contact to a FTD level florist who will go through whatever they have going on display and get that bouquet of yours to that person that you love, or maybe you hate them. And that's why you're sending them to just remind them just much you hate them. I've gotten hate flowers before. It's an interesting sort of thought process. But sometimes you get hate flowers. It happens. If that's your cup of tea, well, just at least use our link so we get some sort of psychic good out of it. But if you're trying to just send something out there that's fast to anyone around the nation, an early morning order can get there by midday and afternoon, and they will guarantee it once you place that order on the timeline going forward. So as the little banner says, make someone happy and send flowers. Send them fast across the nation. If you can't get to the florist shop in town and just get them to them personally, get it to someone sometimes halfway around the world via flowers fast. Use our link. This is theconversationproject.com/flowersfast. This is theconversationproject.com/flowersfast, and they'll get them to you guaranteed quickly. And we get a small commission because we're doing our best to spread love, less hate, spread love around the world. Let's talk about the Conversation Project quickly. This is conversationproject.com is our home online where you can find all you need to find about the Conversation Projects. The wheres we are: Facebook, X, Threads, TikTok. Where we can be found are there. The what we are: a detailed explanation on the background of the Conversation Project. Began its life like a decade ago as an attempt to gain favor and sort of a business aspect to do surveys and get people's information, get people's input. Still getting input, but now doing it by pushing out, hopefully, good news to people, better news coverage, not so much good news, so people can see better news based on news coverage. Because as a journalist who's no longer being paid directly by big corporations, I'm not exactly thrilled what the big corporations are giving us for journalism. There's that. You can also find ways to help support the Conversation Project, including the sponsors, more sponsors listed there, our partnerships links there going forward, and other things as well. The most important thing you can do for the Conversation Project, speaking in third person for a third person, if you will, is just the real work. Literally following us on our feeds, on Facebook, on X, on Threads, letting us know what stories to chat up every day so we can chat them up properly. And let us know what we're not chatting up properly by emailing us with your concerns, comments, and all complaints at theconversationinbox@gmail.com. It's that simple. It's all you need to do to keep us going, and we appreciate. I jokingly say we appreciate all the bad comments. We appreciate all the comments. Some of them are, because it's the internet and it's trolling. It is what you take. But everything that comes in is feedback, even if it's worthless feedback. It's someone took the time, even if they were kind of a troll, to put forth effort to doing that. If we're getting trolls, then we're doing something right. But hopefully we want to get more actual comments that are commenty, which is not a real word, so you can join in the fray and help us with that. Thank you so much for being a part of what we had on for this Wednesday, the 18th of September, 2024. If you're looking for the birthdays and the history lessons, that's in a separate video, separate feed called Things You Might Ought to Know. It's now separated, so find it on YouTube. We're trying to figure out how to distribute it into other places faster, quicker, better soon. But right now, YouTube is a place for it to be, and it's being done in a one video, not a live feed. So that's one reason why it's harder just to send it to different places and make sure it's out there together. So look for that in a separate feed. We usually premiered right after this thing launches. So once you're done with this, you can go click and watch the other one. So that's there. Also, enjoy yourselves. Enjoy your Wednesday. Have a great day. Love you guys. Mean it so much. Let's do this. Remember, we have things in the feeds all day long for you to engage in. So let me know what we're talking about tomorrow by engaging in them today. And then just join me again.